All right. Anna Sophia was saying, the real superheroes have to acknowledge you and say you can be one of them. No one just wakes up one morning all like, I'm a superhero now, and then they just are. Are you sure? Asked Doreen. Yes, said Anna Sophia. That's just how things work. Huh. Doreen figured that must be true. The Hero Watch websites and news shows screamed about grown-ups who tore up skyscrapers by their foundations, or flew spaceships and stopped intergalactic wars. There was nothing superhero-y about walking through the park with a squirrel tail stuffed in the seat of your pants. But you're right, it does feel a little like being heroes on patrol. We're totally pards. What was that? Asked Anna Sophia. We're pards, said Doreen, fingerspelling the word. Pards? Is that a thing? Totally, like partners, but cooler. Best friends was a big leap for me. I don't think I can commit to being a pard. Doreen just nodded, but she felt certain Anna Sophia would warm up to the idea. Who wouldn't want to be pards? So I brought this, said Anna Sophia, pulling a white bed sheet from her backpack. In case you wanted to, I don't know, drop it over your head and look more Jersey ghosty. A chittering sounded from a tree, and then Tippy Toe was on Doreen's shoulder. You don't say, said Doreen. Well, of course, Tippy, I'll be right there. Tippy Toe sneezed, the kind of sneeze that meant, very well then, but in a completely adorable way that would probably make you go, aww. Tippy Toe would disagree that she sounded adorable. She felt completely professional, thank you very much. The squirrels have found another one of these weirdo traps in the trees, Doreen told Anna Sophia. A chance to save the day. BRB, okay? Okay, do you want the sheet? No thanks, it'd probably get in my way. Doreen and Tippy Toe loped off like lopsided twins, leaving Anna Sophia standing there, alone, in the larper-infested park. Doreen looked back. Anna Sophia had wrapped the sheet around her shoulders and head as if for warmth. Doreen almost went back to her, but she was certain she'd only be gone for a few seconds. She followed Tippy Toe to a tree, found the trap, and with a bit of effort managed to dismantle it. But just then a new squirrel chirped in alarm. Another trap. By the time Doreen had climbed that tree and destroyed the second one, news of the traps had spread. The trees came alive with squirrels on the hunt, sniffing out and calling alerts on more danger cages. Doreen followed their calls. She was traveling farther and farther away from Anna Sophia. There was a click, a squeal, and a dozen squirrels at once cried out, "Help!" Tippy Toe came running, screeching about the horrific situation. Little Candy Creeper, a squirrel no more than 6 months old, had discovered a trap, but in her excitement had bumbled her way inside it. Now the door was locked shut. The wall was crushing inward. She had only moments before her last breath would be squished right out of her. I'm coming, said Doreen, running along the thickest branches, bounding from tree to tree. She was off balance running that fast, so mid-stride she lifted her tail free. But what if someone saw her out in the open, flying her freaky tail? She pulled up her hood. With tail out and hood up, Doreen leaped from a tree. Chickit, replied 5 squirrels, carrying the trap down the tree and rushing it towards her. Using their tails, the squirrel posse catapulted the cage in the air. It whooshed across an empty soccer field. Doreen was coming from the other side. She leaped, caught it at the apex of its arc, and in midair, gripped the sides of the cage. Ah! She yelled as she ripped it apart. When she landed, tail first, and rolled to a stop, little Candy Creeper lay nestled in her hands with no more than a bruised backside. You okay? Asked Doreen. Chickit, said little Candy Creeper, pointing to her tiny bum, which was, as mentioned, bruised, but still in one piece. Yeah, Doreen agreed and collapsed on the grass, damp with sweat, breathing hard. A dozen squirrels were celebrating by running up and down her limbs, burrowing behind her neck and around her shoulders, bouncing on her tail and generally squeaking with excitement. This had been a big day for the squirrels. Tippy Toe chittered at her. I don't look like Doreen anymore. Oh, sorry. I don't look like Doreen anymore, said Doreen. Her huge tail was free and twitching in the breeze. She was wearing the hoodie her Canadian grandma had given her on her last birthday. It was nut brown, and the hood had little bear ears attached. Chick, said Tippy Toe. No way! Doreen sat up, holding out her hands, and Tippy Toe leaped onto them. Actually, you know what? That's the name I call myself in my head. Just when I'm feeling sad or worried, she whispered, still shy to say it aloud. Like, come on, Squirrel Girl, you got this. All around her, the squirrels began to repeat the nickname. In Chitterspeak, it didn't mean female squirrel. It combined the words for squirrel with human girl. A creature who was two things at the same time. One squirrel on her shoulder put its bitty paw on her forehead, looked into her eye, and declared, Wow, Doreen breathed out. Her skin prickled with goosebumps from the top of her head to the tip of her tail. The parts that had been curled up tight inside were starting to stretch, fill up the empty spaces. Never had she felt so fully herself. In the distance, Doreen's keen ears became aware of voices speaking. I'm not the Jersey ghost, I swear. Was that Anna Sophia? And then other voices. Thou speakest truly, and yet clearly thou art pretending to be the ghost of Jersey in thy spectral white shroud, in order to frighten the peasants and cause unpleasantness. Thou wilt pay for thy crimes of deception and buffoonery. Not to mention subterfuge and tomfoolery. You are correct, Lady Genevieve von Orchheadschlinger. This one most definitely hath committed the grievous twin crimes of subterfuge and tomfoolery. My lord, what sayest thou? What be her fit punishment? The royal we declareth her punishment fitteth the named crimes of deception, buffoonery, subterfuge, and tomfoolery. She shall be clamped in the pillory. I don't know what you're saying, but it's probably not true. Somebody help! Definitely Anna Sophia, Doreen thought as she jumped to her feet. A dozen squirrels went flying off her in various directions, like kernels of popcorn out of a pot. Anna Sophia? Doreen said, even though Anna Sophia surely couldn't hear her. I don't know what in the heck a pillory is, but I'm coming. Moments later, she cleverly deduced what a pillory was. Most likely it was that wooden stand in the middle of the green with 3 holes in it, 2 that snapped shut around Anna Sophia's wrists and a third larger one around her neck. Doreen had seen pictures of things like that in history textbooks, clearly some kind of medieval device for punishment. That the LARPers had randomly built one in the park. A reasonable thing to use against her BFFAEAE Anna Sophia Arcos Romero. No way. No how, nowhere, no duh. Doreen leaped into the green, higher than she'd ever done before, excited from having just saved a freaking adorable baby squirrel, pumped up with the freedom and confidence of having her tail out, and most of all vibrating with the joy of hearing her secret name spoken aloud by a clan of squirrels. She screeched a squirrelish shriek. She landed by the pillory. Let her go, she said. Kill it, said the Baron. It's a monster. It's a demon. It's a dragon thing. A dragon thing. A Baron came at her, sword swinging. The Doreen ducked and dodged, leaped up, and landed on her attacker's shoulders. Oof, he said, crumpling to the grass under her weight. What in the cheese was that? Said Doreen. Seriously, attacking people with swords in the park? Time to rethink your leisure activities. A second LARPer came at her, sword overhead, yelling, Ah! But she stopped short when Doreen swished her tail, knocking the girl aside like she was swatting a fly. Anna Sophia's head observed all this from her wooden neck lock, her eyes wide. Wow, she said. Whoa, she said. Also, holy cannoli. Doreen tried to release Anna Sophia, but the pillory's clamping bar was locked shut, so she gripped the boards and pulled till they cracked and broke apart. Anna Sophia stood up straight, shrugging off the bed sheet and massaging her wrists. Thanks, said Anna Sophia. I thought you'd left me. Duh, of course not. Anna Sophia? Vin Tang took a step closer. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that was you. Doreen felt movement behind her, and she swirled around, claws out. But instead of attacking, the dozen LARPers had begun to drop to one knee. The Baron she'd knocked down with a shoulder strike was kneeling in front, eyes wide and wet as if he were about to weep. Your speed and combat prowess is a mighty thing to behold. He bowed his head and lifted up his sword in both hands, offering it to her. My great-tailed liege. What? You guys are silly. Honestly, I'm dead confused by whatever games you're playing. But if you like it, that's cool. Just don't, kidnap people and lock them up in weirdo wooden head traps, okay? Anna Sophia was still looking a little shaky, and despite the kneeling and the my lieging, all those sword-wielding LARPers seemed a bit unstable and possibly dangerous. So Doreen picked up Anna Sophia, slung her over her shoulder, and leaped away. Then nearly bounded right out of the park when she heard Anna Sophia's strained, hiccupy breathing. Was she crying? Doreen stopped and put her down. Nope, she was full on laughing. What? What's so funny? Doreen said. I don't know, said Anna Sophia between laughs. I think I'm freaking out a little. You tore apart that wood with your bare hands. Well, yeah, it was super easy, actually. Maybe it was half broken already? Anna Sophia shook her head. She was searching on her phone. Squirrel facts, squirrel facts. Aha! Listen, she said, reading from her phone. Squirrels can lift several times their own body weight. Yeah, squirrels are awesome. Anna Sophia continued to scroll through her phone. They can run up to 20 miles an hour, gnaw through solid metal, jump 5 feet in the air. They regularly leap 10 feet horizontally. What if you don't just have a squirrel tail and front teeth and are pretty strong? What if you actually have the proportional strength, speed, and agility of a squirrel? So if a squirrel can leap 5 times the length of its own body, let's say, then you should be able to leap 5 times the length of your body, which would be 30 feet. 30 feet, Doreen? Nah, I can't jump that far. What if it's more? I mean, I have some skills, sighed Doreen, but it's not like I'm Spider-Man. No, you're not Spider-Man, said Anna Sophia. She looked her dead in the eyes and said with great solemnity, You're Squirrel Girl. Whoa. Now not just her skin had goosebumps, but her bones, too. Electric thrills zipped through her veins. That's so amazing. I was just telling Tippy Toe that's... She cleared her throat. Why was it so hard to speak aloud the secret? Squirrel Girl, she whispered. That's what I call myself in my head. And you can talk to squirrels. Doreen, I think you could maybe be a superhero. Nah, said Doreen. Adults were superheroes. Adults like Captain Marvel, Captain America, Captain Britain, Captain Universe, and all the other captains, plus Gods of Thunder, eating shawarma with or without shirts. But what if you kept doing hero stuff, and the Avengers noticed you, and asked you to join? Then you'd be a real superhero.